Well, instead of rambling on for 3 or 4 minutes of something new that I put onto the car, I'd rather just tell you what I did, because it's just a simple little thing that has made the car look that much better. And yes, it does deal with the outside of the car. So as you know, we have the front things here that got readjusted because they were falling off actually. This being basically not fitting correctly like it should. You know, there are some pros and cons to that. But then we have the side skirts that I put on. But then the thing that's really cool, that honestly I think has really set the tone for how this thing looks, is rear bumper extensions. So these make the bumpers go out about literally the width of the tire. But even cooler is that it won't necessarily do that anymore, because in this video there's something else that's being added on, and actually a few more things. But one's interior and the other one is an exterior thing. But these are the rear bumper extensions. They make the car look really good. When it is daylight out, I will take this car out. I will show you guys what it looks like from behind. The only problem is with these, it's weird because I got it from JPM Carbon, and they were made in Taiwan. So like I could see where it was being shipped from with DHL. And I was like, man, I've got this within 3 days. But I'm like, American-made stuff, I would have not gotten for like another, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, and it would have not even been as good quality. So there's this other thing of, this actually did come with the ability to screw it in. So I don't know how well y'all are seeing this here, but there are 2 screw placements. And those 2 screw placements are for the OEM screws, but the OEM screws were too short. So it's just heavily 3M'd on there, and well, as you can see, it's holding on decently well. But anyways, this car just looks absolutely amazing. There's definitely some things on this front part that I definitely want to change out. But then it was time for the long-awaited upgrade. This one would fix a lot of fitment issues. Oh God. I don't know why I've waited so long for this mod, but it's finally here, and hopefully, as great a fitment this is right now, it's supposed to be 10 times better. I've had a lot more gappage here than back there. I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm not really sure if that is actually normal or not, because this is the first time I've ever used spacers in my life. More up here, less back there. So what I have done is I got 5mm spacers by USP Motorsports. They're by DINAN, but I bought them from USP Motorsports. Honestly, buy it from them. They gave me gummy bears in the package. I could not be happier. Then obviously, you have to get longer lug nuts. I decided to do longer lug nuts instead of a stud conversion because I'm not using this car for track purposes. So it's not like I'm changing tires every single time. So do I need a stud conversion? No. Would it be easier to put on? Yes, but oh well. So obviously the 5mm and then the 35mm are gonna go together, and then the 12mm and the 40mm are gonna go together. How to get a median for this one. This one was about, I think, roughly 20mm, but I didn't want to go too big, but I didn't want to go too small. So I think with 12 to 15 is a good range. I think it should push it out just a little bit, but not too much. And then the back here obviously is probably gonna be like the best fitment, which I think is the most important because now you've got all the carbon fiber things to it. So without further ado, this is how it looks. We're going to do a little like cinematic kind of overview of what it looks like before the spacers, and then see if there's really any difference that you can tell, whether in person or on camera.
I can see you from behind.
Okay, like I said, there's a huge reason why I did the springs that I did, because look at how tight that is. Now let's go to the front, because the front's even lower. I have a strong feeling I'm not going to be able to get this. Yeah, I kind of figured that one. Dang. Yep, this is why we like low profile things. Ah, my luck. So I'm taking advantage of the wheel being off, and I'm cleaning the rotor, because obviously they squeak all the time. I love these brakes and the design they are, but they squeak way too much. They're literally Brembo racing brakes. I'm showing you this because this is the OEM lug nut, and then this is the 35mm lug nut. I really just realized one bad thing. So if I'm putting spacers on, meaning I cannot have this special little lug nut on anymore. And well, that's a spacer. I actually thought it wouldn't just stick on like this. And the only reason why it's sticking on like this is because it fits super snug. Oh yeah, and just as an FYI, I don't expect a large difference when putting this wheel on and then like all the wheels. Maybe a little bit of a difference, but nothing like crazy, so We'll see. I mean, worst case is it was just, I think it was like $110 for these things. Not the end of the world. So as I'm doing the fronts, I kind of wish I showed you guys the differences between the 5mm and the 12mm, because this here is a 12mm and it is a noticeably thick spacer. So 3 out of the 4 spacers are on. It actually looks incredible. The fronts are definitely like perfect. From what it is right now, it's gonna be a little weird because I just kind of jacked up one side to get the last one. I think it really does it nicely. When you guys see this and when it's all completely lowered and leveled, you'll see. Maybe you could say the same thing. Maybe you'll see something different. Maybe you'll see it looks great. All the spacers are on. You can't tell from a side profile, but you can't tell it's maybe a little stuck out a bit more. Dang, man. I mean, okay, maybe you can't tell on camera. You probably can't. But it's the idea of like you can, because from a IRL standpoint, it goes so in line with the side skirt to the rest of everything else. Before, this was in quite a bit more. Like it was in here and now it's flush. Although the spacers are on, everything's good. There is one thing I do have to check, and that is rubbing. Obviously the backs won't have any rubbing because they're not the ones turning. So take this car out in 30-degree weather, turn the wheels, make sure there's no rubbing. This is the back now that the rear bumper extensions are on, and boy, man, that looks good. It just looks so clean. When all the mods are done, I want to do a whole like mod list review, because we're getting very close to the finish line of like, what else can I really do to this car? That's a good and bad thing, really. 'Cause it's like, it's good that like we're getting to the finish line, so no more money's really being spent except for on maintenance. But it's also a bad thing because it's like, what else do I do to the car? Do I just sell it and lose a crap load of money, or do I just keep it and just somehow make content with it? I don't know. It is just really cool to see that this build has just become something insanely nice. It sounds great. It's the main reason why I got the N55. I'm very proud of myself. I just know every single piece that I do buy, I'm actually, believe it or not, about the MSRP of a used S55. Doesn't matter if it's a F80 or an F82. So I put the amount of money in on a, without, you know, obviously I need to pay insurance and stuff, but to pay off the car, it's already paid off. It's been paid off for almost a year now. The car, literally, from my knowledge base on what the mods are on here, to sound good, to push roughly as much power as a stock, maybe a little bit less, of an S55, I got for less than what a stock MSRP would be for, again, the F80, F82. It's just amazing. I'd fallen onto the exhaust and melted a little bit, but then I was like, oh, I could just splice it